Oh, I wanted to react to the Destroy Lonely No Stylist review by Anthony Fantano because he gave it a light 1. And as we all know, he gave Ken Carson a 0, I think, if I recall correctly, with X. And he made some fair points in that review. I wouldn't give it a 0. Like, it didn't have 0 value. I could see, like, for Fantano's sake, a 4 to 5 range. I think I gave it like a 5 because it was just like it just felt like, again, a regurgitation of Project X. Project X just was more monumental or more revolutionary, and then this X was just the same shit. But Destroy Lonely, y'all know my opinion. That best tape from one of these upcoming rappers this year, better than Two Alive, better than Summer's Fallen Raven. And that is saying something, because Summers and Two Alive were solid projects. But let me go to the video. Right.
Hi everyone, Why Thinny Not Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Destroy Lonely album, No Stylist. Destroy Lonely is an Atlanta rapper who is fresh to Playboi Carti's Opium label. I understand this is his 3rd full-length studio album to date. There has been a bit of anticipation for this review, especially since the last artist I reviewed off of Carti's Opium label, Ken Carson, got a 0, and I was not really big on that record at all. But just being blunt here, honestly, just like Ken Carson, I'm just not really seeing what's so exciting about this, honestly. I mean, once more, like in my Ken Carson review, I think the winner in this whole situation, the person who I can truly praise, is Playboi Carti, because that man smartly forged a style, forged a sound, saw that among his fans there was a huge demand for it, maybe more of a demand than he himself could feed alone, and ultimately it's to everyone's benefit. I'm sure financially this label deal is good for Carti. The artists he puts on his label get pushed directly to his fans who are only seeking out more music that sounds like his. Yeah, I mean, ultimately it makes...
I mean, he's spitting facts about the drought of music from Carti, and then Ken and Lone are like feeding them, and that's helping out Carti too, because not only does he get paid for it, but also all of their fans are probably Carti fans. Would they be doing well aside from him? Potentially. But as we were talking about with Ken before, like, they're kind of only up because of Carti. But as I always say, with stars and like successful artists, they will get there if they truly have the talent, you know?
Makes sense. It's great. It's good. Everybody wins. Everybody win. But like, if only the music were good, because I'm running into a lot of the same problems that I had with Ken Carson on this Destroy Lonely record. Ultimately, vocally, I could not pick this man out of a lineup. Slathers his voice in a lot of auto-tune too, which again, ultimately is not necessarily a bad thing, but it's pretty much used as a crutch and as a means of making his very boring vocal timbre sound more interesting, when in fact it really doesn't. Now look, I think a generic or a so-so voice could be maybe a non-factor if you deliver with a lot of energy or a lot of passion, or you have flows that are unique, sticky, catchy. But Destroy Lonely doesn't even bring that to the table. I find it funny that stuff like this continues to be labeled as like rage music, or gets put in this box where it's kind of compared to Playboi Carti stuff, because obviously it's on the Opium label. The Playboi Carti fans are consuming it, but I don't see what is so hype or exciting or I don't know, visceral or aggressive about this. I mean, maybe in some respects it goes hard live, but on the record itself, the energy is very middle of the road and so-so. There's not a whole lot of sparks or fire.
I would agree. Destroy Lonely's music isn't really rage, although he did have some songs on there like Veterans and No Stylist. But the reason I like Destroy Lonely better than Ken Carson right now, at least, because that could change, is that it is like more chill. I can't literally be on ecstasy all day. Sometimes I am sad. Sometimes I just want to chill. I just worked out like right before this. I'm not trying to be here on fucking cocaine, I can't listen to Ken Carson when I'm going to sleep. But shit, if Destroy Lonely wants to hop in bed, I might have to with me and my girl. Pause. Nah, I'm playing.
Works to be had. Frankly, Cardi approaches the mic with a lot more energy, with a lot more charisma. Guys like Sheck Wes as well, or Travis Scott. Take the intro track off this record, for example, which sounds almost as passionless and as monotone as a Nav song. Much of the appeal of this music comes down to the vibe, but the vibes are rancid. Like, I could compliment this record if it managed to work even as background music, but it's way too annoying to serve even as that. The second track has one of the worst flows and
annoying
melodies I've ever heard on any mellow trap song. Really, the best you could hope for on this project is a beat that is listenable, and Destroy Lonely essentially rides it with the same flow over and over and over, repeating until essentially it just becomes this mind-numbing thing that you're not really thinking about, because there's no song there's no interesting bars there's nothing really there in terms of variation in performance. And believe me, you don't really want to be paying close attention. The fifth track, for example, he says, she in school, but it's cool. She's still in school. What grade?
Yo, she could be in college, bruh. You go to college at 18 years old. I'm pretty sure Destroy Lonely is like 20, 21. I think he's 21. Bro, he ain't like that.
Yeah, but when Destroy Lonely isn't kind of creeping me out like that, much of what's going on here substance-wise is totally mindless. And not to even kind of say that it's like mindless in a special way, like what he's rapping about here, the materialism, the sex, the drugs, the money. You could get that just about anywhere, but with like actual personality, actual flow, maybe a song idea, maybe a song structure, maybe melody that's worth humming or remembering, maybe some wit in the writing. It's not even so much that the topics of focus on this project are bad or wrong. They're not. They're kind of what you would expect someone who's Destroy Lonely's age to be rapping about. But like, at the very least, he could do it with some flavor, some personality, some something. Because once again, just like with Ken Carson, the only thing that makes this project stand out or makes it special or makes it worth focusing on in any way is that it fits into, you know, this Cardi trend, this rage wave, and it's specifically being featured on the Opium label. There's really nothing else exciting or interesting or even worth commenting on about it, because truth be told, Destroy Lonely is no lyricist, does not really know his way around rapping or flowing. As much of the time he's barely holding on to the tempo of these beats. Occasionally there is a kind of wild eccentricity to what he does. Maybe some of his vocal lines are especially sloppy or a little weird. Sometimes in that respect it reminds me just a little bit of Lil B. But believe me when I say, like, this record isn't even an eighth, a 10th, an 11th as entertaining as a Lil B mixtape or album. There are some tracks on the back end of this thing where Destroy Lonely starts incorporating.
Yes, he's gonna talk about the rock influenced beats were amazing. All the songs on the back end were crazy.
Some guitar samples, but the problem much of the time is that whatever these guitar chunks or loops are that are being thrown into these beats, they sound like they were recorded on a fucking potato. And yeah, the record ends about as boring and as passionless and as pointless.
He's gonna talk about the Ken feature. He just fucking hates Ken, bro.
As it begins, I suppose if you're really like desperate for more music in this style, Destroy Lonely kinda fits the bill. But again, in my opinion, just like with Ken Carson, there's not really much of anything on this project that holds a candle to any song on any Cardi project, even when eventually you do get a beat or two that sounds like it could have been on Whole Lotta Red. And when it comes to artists who kind of have the appeal or are trying to have the appeal that Destroy Lonely does, yeah, I would much rather listen to Cardi. I would much rather listen to someone like Yeat, who despite his, like, you know, severe lack lack of substance on the lyrical side, at least has something going on there in terms of his voice, in terms of his style, in terms of his delivery, in terms of his unique and somewhat more psychedelic and surreal approach to this sound. I'm struggling, guys. I'm really struggling to find something nice to say about this project. I want to have something nice to say, but really nothing about it appealed to me outside of like maybe a vocal line here and there, maybe a beat here and there being semi-interesting, or, you know, feeling interesting enough that I would want to hear maybe another rapper on it. Plus, the whole damn thing is over 50 minutes long, which is just way too fucking much mind-numbing drivel in one sitting. Feeling a light to decent 1 on this project. Transition.
Man, 2 things, and then we can be over with, because that was a little bit much. He was just going in on Destroy Lonely. I'm not gonna lie. 1, firstly, me and Fantano agree on one thing, and that is that Destroy Lonely's project was better than X. Right? He gave No Stylist a 1. He gave Ken Carson a 0. What's good? What's good? So I was right, even though I don't really think that we should. It's always interesting to hear what he says, but at this point, he's just hating on the new style. Like, when in like 5 years, like, what is he gonna be listening to? Because the reason I liked No Stylist, and I understand his points about Ken Carson's X project, the reason I like No Stylist is because it was so different from this upcoming generation. Like, it had a couple of rage beats, of course, but that's just like the new wave. That was like 3-4 songs out of like 20. But the rest of it was actually like cool beats, like his own style, had the rock shit that, you know, is a little bit more traditional in a sense to what Fantano listens to, because he listens to, like, you know, rock, pop, what, I don't even know what he listens to. You get what I'm saying though. So a lot of what he said and like sounded like Cardi. I just disagree. I think if you're gonna relate Destroy Lonely to somebody, it's gonna sound like a Young Thug vocals kind of thing, which I feel like he likes Young Thug because he's very versatile with the way he uses his voice as an instrument. The auto-tune, I was like, what? Destroy Lonely uses auto-tune for sure, but it's like, I understand the Ken Carson criticism of auto-tune, because he maxes that shit out. Destroy Lonely, like, nah, he don't do that. So I thought this was one of like the highlights of this class of rappers. I'm pretty disappointed that he gave it a 1, especially considering it did not sound like a whole lot of Red at all. Maybe a couple of the songs, but just that's like the new style of beats. So he losing his touch, man. He gotta get in tune with the times if he really wants to review these projects more thoroughly. It's like, I'm not gonna sit here and give a review to some of the artists he listens to, because I'm gonna be like, look, y'all, I personally don't like it, but I understand why other people do, which is like where he should come from. But I guess since he's a music critic, that's why he gives his opinion, and he knows it gets him clouded because everybody hates on him, and like nobody really cares about his review. People on Twitter actually were saying that people liked X prior to the Anthony Fantano review of a 0, and then after that people were hating on it. But I don't see that at all. I'm pretty sure the whole time, well, people were like trying to force them to like X, force themselves to like X, and then they realized like, oh, this actually ain't that good. And so that they came to their senses after realizing 3 days into it they weren't listening to the project anymore. Whereas Destroy Lonely, I'm still listening to the project. It is fire. I was listening to it all the way to Atlanta and back. Oh, strictly. Maybe a little bit of what else was I listening to? Young Nudi's project. But with this one, people are saying that people are gonna turn on Destroy Lonely's now. I'm like, no. Again, I don't think anybody gives a fuck about his review. It's fun to like hate watch, you know? It's like why old people watch Fox News and CNN. as the opposite political party. They're like, no, fuck Trump, fuck Biden, you know? That type of shit. They just enjoy it.